Well, we've had a great haul of episodes this time around, so let's continue the tradition of closing out on a happy note. The Little People is one of the greatest stories the Twilight Zone ever devised. It has a wild imagination, strong character writing, neat effects, and a clever lesson about human insecurity. In this tale, we follow two astronauts, one being a hard-nosed military captain, and the other being a generic idiot bully, but one with a purpose. They've landed on an asteroid
in the middle of nowhere,
sweating under two suns. And they need to repair their Starfleet shuttle to get off. But of course, the idiot bully and no-nonsense captain struggle to get along. The captain has had a hard time getting along with his disloyal trooper, while idiot bully acts like a prick because he hates how his boss doesn't respect him enough. Suddenly, the idiot bully discovers an entire alien race made up of microscopic creatures, the Little People.
A whole race of little people who look up to me like a giant out of the sky.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Naturally, the idiot bully takes it upon himself to form a loving alliance with these frail, innocent... No, he starts crushing them and picking on them to unleash his gross, bottled-up anger at the world.
What a bitch.
You see, since Idiot Bully can't get people to love him, he oppresses the little aliens and makes himself their god, since he can make them worship his might. Yeah, now you know why I dub him Idiot Bully. Eventually, his superior officer fixes the spaceship and begs his coworker to come back home, back to reality. But the power of being a god here consumes Idiot Bully, and he threatens the captain to go away without him, since he chooses to chase his deluded fantasies instead. What I love is that this entire episode is a fascinating character study about a grade-A prick jumping off the slippery slope once he gains power over others. We see an entitled chump who claims he's far too good for his world, slowly shedding away any semblance of a normal person and growing into the true monster he is underneath. Like a villain origin.
They're scared, Fletch. Petrified. And so they do what they're told. Because this giant is like some avenging angel to them.
The captain points out that he's had ample opportunity to be a great officer and a respectable figure in his work, but his refusal to play nice or listen to others as equals made him a disgrace in the first place. Crushing the Little People was his easy way up to the top, since he can force them to love him, because if they don't, he'll crush them for laughs. It's a great cautionary tale on how power corrupts. A man who was a smug douche at work is given this power, and he chooses to be a monstrous bully with it, living out his delusions of godhood. Just a bad apple who evolved into a sour tree. He forces the Little People to praise him, feed him, fear him, and they even build statues of him to appease the jerk holding them hostage. This guy feels like he would definitely be a nut around by today.
The little people did that. They did it overnight.
What do you give them in return, Craig?
I won't tramp my feet down on their towns.
He forces his boss off the planet at gunpoint and remains in his fantasy kingdom. But just before he can go back to stepping all over kids again, another rocket ship with giants on it lands there too, leading to the giants accidentally crushing him while they're scavenging, dying like the sad small man he is.
What do you got? A man. A tiny little man.
Why, you're crushed to death.
I didn't mean to.
There's always a bigger fish.
My favorite part is in the final few minutes, when the Lilliputians seriously tear down the dictator's statue right on top of Idiot Bully's corpse. Real Star Wars celebration right there. So this episode ends with a lesson regarding how people do hold power over someone else in some form anywhere, but you should be mindful of what you do with it. This episode rocks. It's got great acting, some of the best visual effects I have ever seen on this show, creative space alien designs, a dark character arc, and a super effective moral still relevant by today. What more could you ask for? The worst parts of the episode is that sometimes the acting is over the top and the captain's lines feel a tad too scripted. But it's a small price for a grand tale of suspense. So, I'll grant this story a gold skull and a perfect score. 10 out of 10, I love it. Strongly recommend. What better way can you end a Twilight Zone marathon than with a tale whose greatness meets ginormous proportions?
The case of navigator Peter Craig, a victim of a delusion. In this case, the dream dies a little harder than the man. A small exercise in space psychology that you can try on for size in the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone.